Okay guys, so my 5th entry into National Pride group build basically was inspired by the other builds that I've done, which was obviously I'm doing the ship, I'm doing a plane, and I've done a couple of tanks. And I suddenly realised that none of these items, pieces of equipment, would be any use if it wasn't for the servicemen and servicewomen who are part of our armed forces. And I do have a lot of pride for people who serve and protect the United Kingdom or have served. So I thought this entry would be basically 1/35 scale figures. Some of the figures will actually represent people who have served. One of the figures that I've got will represent somebody who is currently serving in the armed forces. Now, what we have here is a Tamiya's World War I British Infantry set, and I may have harped on before, but there was a great uncle of mine, Arthur Harry Drew, who was killed on the Somme, and so one of these figures will be done to represent Arthur. Another one of these figures will be done to represent, I've got to get this right, a great granddad, James Henry Haynes. Now, James returned from World War I in 1918, and he was married that same year. Unfortunately, however, because of an incident where he was gassed, I'm not sure where, it caused issues with his breathing, and so he only survived for another 10 years after World War I and died in 1928, and it is actually recorded on his death certificate that complications due to gassing during World War I. So two of these figures will represent them. Obviously it won't be the officer because both guys were just privates. So that's the first box set. The second box set is Tamiya's 1/35 scale British 8th Army. Now, I can't remember whether I've said this, but one of my granddads, I had three altogether, Joseph Marks, he was a private in the 2nd Battalion Worcesters that fought in North Africa, and so one of these figures will represent him. Just to give you a bit of background, Joseph was captured at Tobruk. He was held in an Italian prisoner of war camp, and then he was held in a German prisoner of war camp, and I have actually got a postcard from him to, I don't know if it was his mum and dad or his sister, when he was in the German camp. I'd also like to do a figure for my granddad Mayo, who served during World War II. If you recall, I did a Chevrolet truck because he was in the he was a driver in World War II in Burma, and so I'm sure upstairs in the loft somewhere I've got some 1/35 scale drivers, and there's a British one within the set, so I will do that. The other figures that I will do as part of this is I've got a modern British soldier set. I think that's Gecko, with a company produced that, and I can't put my hand on it in the moment. And there will be three figures at least from that set that I will use. One figure, although obviously the regiment isn't quite right, is for my good friend Steve Mottram, who served. The other one will be for James Clark, who I used to know. He was big into Games Workshop's Lord of the Rings gaming, but he served in Afghanistan. in Afghanistan. And the third one, although again the regiment won't be right, is for Greg Riley's son David, who's currently serving in the British Armed Forces. So altogether at least there will be 7 figures, possibly more. What I might do is, if I can find, like if I get myself a 1/35 scale pilot, I'll do one of those just so they're represented. A 1/35 scale Navy officer, I might do that as well. And the intention is that this will be an ongoing, if you like, entry for the duration of the GB, and I will just keep adding to it until it completes. I'm hoping to do perhaps a figure a week or something, so it may get quite big. It's this period, World War One, World War Two, and current, that's where obviously I feel that these people are putting themselves in the line of fire in order to protect this country in the past. Anyway guys, I hope you're interested in this, and I hope you all follow the progress on this particular entry. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon.